The kitchen of Salvatore's, Manhattan's most exclusive Italian restaurant, pulses with controlled chaos. Flames leap from sauté pans, steam rises in clouds, and the symphony of clanging metal and shouted orders creates a rhythm that Chef Simone Carter has learned to dance to. Her dark hands move with precision over the cutting board, her natural coils pulled back tight under her chef's hat, her brown skin glistening with the heat of the industrial kitchen. She's worked her way up from prep cook to sous chef in 3 years, surviving in a world that doesn't often make space for Black women in professional kitchens. But Simone's talent speaks louder than prejudice. Her dishes are poetry on a plate, her palate is flawless, and her work ethic is unmatched. She needs this job. The salary keeps her grandmother's nursing home paid, keeps the lights on in her studio apartment, keeps her dream of one day opening her own restaurant alive. Tonight, the head chef called in sick. Food poisoning, ironically. That means Simone is running the kitchen for the first time during service. Her heart pounds with equal parts terror and excitement as she oversees 12 other cooks, calling out orders, tasting sauces, ensuring perfection leaves her station. Chef! Marco, the floor manager, bursts through the kitchen doors, his face pale and sweating. Table 1, VIP. He's requested something not on the menu. Simone's stomach drops. Table 1. The corner table that's always reserved, always private, always occupied by people whose names you don't say out loud. What does he want? She asks, wiping her hands on her apron. Marco's voice drops to a whisper. He wants comfort food, something real. Italian, but authentic. Not fancy, just real. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. The request is strange. Salvatore's doesn't do comfort food. They do molecular gastronomy, foam, sous vide, edible flowers, and plates that cost $200. They do art, not comfort. But something in Marco's expression tells Simone this isn't negotiable. Who's at table 1? She asks, though part of her doesn't want to know. Marco swallows hard. Domenico Valentini. The name settles over the kitchen like a storm cloud. Even the line cooks who don't follow the news know that name. Domenico Valentini, the man who owns half of Manhattan's waterfront, whose business dealings exist in the gray space between legal and lethal, whose presence in a restaurant either makes its reputation or ends its existence. The youngest son of the Valentini crime family, who took over when his father died 5 years ago, 36 years old and more dangerous than men twice his age. Simone's hands shake as she reaches for a clean towel. What kind of comfort food? He didn't specify, just said he'd know it when he tasted it. Marco's eyes are desperate. Chef, if you can't, I can. The words come out stronger than she feels, because she has to. This isn't just about tonight's service, it's about whether she ever works in a New York kitchen again. Men like Domenico Valentini don't forget disappointment. She thinks fast, her mind racing through Italian comfort food. Osso buco? Too heavy. Carbonara? Too common. Ragu? Too expected. Then she remembers. Her grandmother's recipe. The one Nonna Rosa taught her when Simone was barely tall enough to reach the stove. The dish that Rosa learned from her Italian employer back in the 1950s, when she'd worked as a housekeeper for a family from Calabria. A dish Rosa had made with such love that Simone could still taste it in her memories, could still feel the warmth of that tiny kitchen in Brooklyn where magic happened every Sunday. Polpette in sugo. Meatballs in tomato sauce, but not just any meatballs. The kind made with a mother's hands, with love and time, and the kind of patience that modern kitchens had forgotten. Give me 45 minutes, Simone says. He wants it in 30. Then give me 30. She's already moving, already pulling ingredients, already hearing Nonna Rosa's voice in her head. The secret, baby girl, is the bread. You soak it in milk until it's soft. Then you add it to the meat. Makes the meatballs tender, like clouds. And the sauce. You don't rush the sauce. You let it talk to you. Tell you when it's ready. The kitchen watches as Simone works. This isn't her usual style. There's no precision tweezers, no foam, no microgreens. Just her hands mixing ground beef, pork, and veal with soaked bread. Eggs, parmesan, garlic, parsley. Just her fingers rolling the mixture into perfect spheres, each one the same size, each one formed with care. She browns them in olive oil, listening to the sizzle, watching the crust form. Then into the sauce. San Marzano tomatoes that she crushes by hand, garlic she slices thin, basil she tears with her fingers, a pinch of red pepper flakes, salt, a secret splash of red wine. The kitchen fills with an aroma that makes everyone stop. It smells like home, like Sunday dinner, like the kind of food that feeds more than your stomach. Simone tastes the sauce, adjusts the salt, tastes again, adds a touch more basil, lets it simmer, lets it become what it's meant to be. She plates it simply. No architectural genius, just meatballs and sauce, a drizzle of good olive oil, fresh basil leaves, grated parmesan. Rustic, honest, real. Someone take this to table 1, she says quietly. You should take it. Marco's voice is insistent. He'll want to know who made it. Terror and pride war in her chest, but she's come this far. She picks up the plate, smooths down her chef's coat, and pushes through the kitchen doors into the dining room. The restaurant's main dining room is elegant in that specific way that money creates. All dark wood and soft lighting, white tablecloths and crystal glasses that catch the candlelight. Conversation hums at a low, cultured murmur. This is where Manhattan's elite come to be seen, to broker deals, to celebrate moments they'll remember forever. But Table 1 exists apart from all of it. It's positioned in the far corner, slightly elevated, with a clear view of both the entrance and the kitchen doors. Strategic. The table is surrounded by a buffer zone. The nearest occupied table is 15 feet away. Not by accident. As Simone approaches, her heart hammering against her ribs, she catalogues the scene with a chef's attention to detail. 3 men at the table. 2 of them are clearly guards, broad-shouldered, alert, their eyes constantly scanning the room. They wear expensive suits that can't quite hide the bulk of weapons underneath. One has his hand resting on the table in a way that suggests he could reach inside his jacket in less than a second. But it's the third man who steals all the oxygen from her lungs. Domenico Valentini sits with his back to the wall, and even from across the room his presence is overwhelming. He's younger than she expected, mid-30s, with dark hair that's slightly too long, curling at his collar. Sharp cheekbones, a strong jaw shadowed with stubble, and a Roman nose that gives his face character instead of pretty boy perfection. He wears a black suit with no tie, his white shirt open at the collar, revealing a glimpse of olive skin and what might be a tattoo. His hands rest on the table, large hands, elegant fingers, a gold signet ring on his right hand that catches the light. But it's his eyes that pin her in place as she approaches. Dark, impossibly dark, like espresso, like midnight. Eyes that have seen things she can't imagine, done things she doesn't want to know about. Eyes that assess her with the intensity of a predator deciding if she's prey or something else entirely. Mr. Valentini, she says, her voice steadier than she feels, I'm Chef Simone Carter. I prepared your dish this evening. He doesn't respond immediately, just studies her face with an intensity that makes her skin prickle. She watches his eyes track over her features, her warm brown skin, her high cheekbones, her full lips, the intelligence in her dark eyes. She forces herself not to look away, not to show the fear that's making her pulse race. You're the head chef? His voice is deep, accented with Italian inflection that makes English sound like music. "Tonight I am, sir. Chef Antonio is ill." "Fortunate timing." He gestures to the chair across from him. "Sit." "Sir, I have a kitchen to—" "Sit." Not a request. A command delivered in a voice that has never been denied. Simone's training screams at her to refuse, to maintain professional boundaries, to get back to her station. But something in his eyes, curiosity, perhaps, or challenge, makes her slowly sink into the leather chair across from him. This close, she can smell his cologne. Expensive, subtle, with notes of bergamot and cedar and something darker underneath. This close, she can see the faint scar that cuts through his left eyebrow, the silver at his temples that makes him distinguished rather than old, the way his jaw tightens as he looks at the plate she's set before him. The meatballs sit in their pool of red sauce, steam rising gently, the basil bright green against the deep red. Simple. Honest. Nothing like what Salvatore's usually serves. Domenico picks up his fork. His movements are controlled, deliberate, like everything he does has been calculated 3 moves ahead. He cuts into a meatball, and Simone watches the tender meat give way easily. He lifts the bite to his mouth. The moment the food touches his tongue, everything changes. His eyes close, his entire body goes still. The hand holding the fork trembles, barely, almost imperceptibly, but Simone sees it. She watches his throat work as he swallows, watches something crack in his expression. When his eyes open, they're wet. For one suspended moment, the most dangerous man in New York looks like a lost child. "Where did you learn this recipe?" His voice is rough, scraped raw. "My grandmother taught me, sir. She worked for an Italian family in the 50s. She learned it from—" "Where were they from?" He cuts her off, leaning forward with sudden intensity. "The family. What region?" "Calabria, I think. A small town called Reggio Calabria." Not a question, a statement. His hands grip the edge of the table. "Tell me exactly how you made this. Every ingredient, every step." Simone's mind races. This isn't normal. Nothing about his reaction is normal. But she answers, walking him through the recipe, watching his face as she describes soaking the bread in milk, the specific ratio of meats, the way she tears the basil by hand instead of cutting it. "The sauce," he interrupts. "You added wine." "Just a splash. My grandmother said, it needs to breathe with the tomatoes, to become part of the family, not a guest." He finishes her sentence, word for word what Nonna Rosa used to say. Simone's breath catches. "How did you—" "My mother." His voice breaks on the word. "My mother made this exactly this way, every Sunday when I was a child. Before—" He doesn't finish. Doesn't need to. The guards at the table have gone rigid, clearly uncomfortable with their boss's display of emotion. But Domenico ignores them, his entire focus on Simone, on the plate before him, on the memories that have been brought back to life by her hands. "Your mother was from Calabria?" Simone asks softly. "Reggio. She died when I was 12. He takes another bite, closes his eyes again. "Cancer. Fast and brutal. And with her died this. This taste. This feeling. I've searched for 15 years, hired every Italian chef in New York to recreate it. No one has come close." He opens his eyes, and the vulnerability there steals her breath. "Until a black girl from Brooklyn walks into my life and gives me my mother back with a plate of meatballs." The way. He says it isn't an insult. It's wonder. Reverence. Like she's performed a miracle he didn't believe was possible. "I'm sorry for your loss," Simone says, because what else can she say? This man, this criminal, this monster the newspapers write about. He's just a son who misses his mother. "Don't be sorry." Domenico sets down his fork and reaches across the table. His hand covers hers and the contact sends electricity racing up her arm. His skin is warm, calloused despite his wealth. A working man's hands hiding in expensive Italian leather. Tell me about your grandmother. They talk for 20 minutes, though it feels both longer and shorter than that. Simone tells him about Nonna Rosa, about growing up in her tiny Brooklyn kitchen, about learning to cook by watching those weathered hands work magic with simple ingredients, about how Rosa died 2 years ago, leaving Simone with recipes and memories and a hole in her heart that never quite filled. Domenico listens with an intensity that's almost frightening. He doesn't interrupt, doesn't check his phone, doesn't let his attention waver for even a second. When she mentions that Rosa used to sing while she cooked, his lips curve into a sad smile. My mother sang too, old songs from Calabria. I can still hear her voice. He pauses, then does something unexpected. He sings, soft and low, a few lines in Italian, a folk song about the sea and home and longing. Nonna used to sing that, Simone whispers, shocked. The exact same song. Maybe they knew the same family. Maybe they learned from the same hands. His thumb strokes across her knuckles, and she realizes he's still holding her hand. She should pull away. Can't seem to make herself move. Or maybe this was meant to happen. You and me. This moment. I don't believe in fate, Simone says, but her voice lacks conviction. Neither did I. His eyes hold hers. Until 30 minutes ago. Marco appears at her elbow, his face apologetic and stressed. Chef, I'm sorry, but the kitchen needs you. Domenico finishes, releasing her hand slowly, reluctantly. Of course. You have work. Simone stands, feeling off balance, like the world has tilted and she hasn't found her footing yet. I hope the meal was satisfactory, Mr. Valentini. Domenico. His voice drops, becomes intimate. Call me Domenico. And satisfactory doesn't begin to cover what you've done tonight. He reaches into his jacket, his guards tense until they see it's just his wallet, and pulls out a business card. Matte black with gold lettering. Just a name and a number. I'd like to see you again, he says, pressing the card into her palm. To talk about food, about our grandmothers, about... He trails off, but his eyes finish the sentence. About everything. About us. About this thing that sparked between us in the space of a half hour. Mr. Valent, Domenico, I don't think... Think about it. He stands, and she has to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. He's tall, at least 6'2", and up close she can see that the tattoo peeking above his collar is script. Italian words she can't quite read. Please, just think about it. His hand finds hers one more time, and he does something that shocks her. He lifts it to his lips and kisses her knuckles. A gesture from another era, old world and courtly and entirely at odds with everything she knows about him. Thank you, he says quietly, for giving me a piece of my mother back. You have no idea what that means. Then he's gone, his guards flanking him as they move toward the exit. Every eye in the restaurant tracks their departure, but Simone stands frozen, staring at the black card in her hand, her knuckles still tingling from his lips. She returns to the kitchen in a daze. The other cooks watch her with a mixture of awe and concern, but no one asks questions. They saw her sit with Domenico Valentini. That's enough to ensure their silence. It's only later, after service ends and she's cleaning her station, that Marco approaches. Chef. His voice is quiet, serious. Whatever just happened out there, be careful. I know who he is, Marco. Do you? Marco's expression is grave. Domenico Valentini isn't just some mob boss, Simone. He's the heir to an empire built on blood. His family has run this city for 3 generations. The people who cross him don't live to regret it. I made him dinner. That's all. That's not all. And you know it. Marco's hand lands on her shoulder, fatherly despite being only 10 years older. I saw the way he looked at you, the way he held your hand. Men like him, when they want something, they take it. And I think he wants you. The words should terrify her. They do terrify her. But underneath the fear is something else. Something warm and dangerous and entirely inappropriate. I'm not going to call him, she says, but her fingers are already curling around the card, already memorizing the number embossed in gold. Good. Marco doesn't sound convinced. Because getting involved with a man like that, it changes everything, Simone. Your whole life becomes his. There's no going back once you step into that world. That night, in her tiny studio apartment, Simone sits on her futon with the business card in her hand. She should throw it away, should forget this ever happened, should go back to her normal life of 12-hour shifts and ramen dinners and slow progress toward her dream. But she can't stop thinking about his eyes, the way they'd filled with tears over meatballs, the way he'd looked at her like she'd hung the moon, the way his voice had cracked when he spoke about his mother. She thinks about Nonna Rosa, about the hours spent in that kitchen learning to cook with love instead of technique, about how food was never just food. It was connection, memory, a bridge between past and present. And she thinks about Domenico Valentini, dangerous and powerful and broken in a way that called to her own brokenness. Her phone sits on the coffee table, silent and accusing. One call. That's all it would take. One call and her life changes forever. Simone picks up the phone, puts it down, picks it up again. She doesn't call. Not that night. But she doesn't throw away the card either. And 3 days later, when her phone rings with an unknown number and her heart knows exactly who it is before she answers, she presses the green button and whispers, "Hello," into a future she can't predict and can't resist. Simone. Just her name, but the way he says it, like a prayer, like a claim, tells her everything she needs to know. She's in trouble. The best and worst kind of trouble. And she's already in too deep to swim back to shore. I didn't think you'd call, Simone says, her voice steadier than her racing heart. I didn't call. There's amusement in Domenico's voice, dark and rich. You didn't give me your number, so I found it. The implication settles over her like ice water. He found it. Of course he did. Men like him don't wait for permission. They take what they want, find what they need. That's invasive? Yes. Necessary? Also yes. She can hear the smile in his voice. I couldn't stop thinking about you, Simone, about that meal, about the way you looked at me like I was human instead of a monster. I don't know you well enough to know which one you are. Smart answer. He pauses. Have dinner with me. Let me cook for you this time. The request surprises her. You cook? My mother taught me before she died. It's the only thing I do that isn't... He trails off, but she understands. The only thing that isn't criminal, violent, dangerous. Let me show you. Every rational part of her brain screams, no. Marco's warning echoes in her head. Getting involved with a man like that changes everything. But she hears herself say, when? Tonight. I'll send a car for you at 7. I don't even know where you live. You don't need to. Just say yes, Simone. Let me feed you the way you fed me. Let me give you something back. She should refuse. Should hang up. Should block this number and pretend the last 3 days of obsessive thinking never happened. Yes, she whispers instead. Okay. Yes. His exhale is relief and victory all at once. Wear something comfortable. This isn't a restaurant. Just me and you and food that matters. The call ends, leaving Simone staring at her phone, wondering what she's just agreed to. At exactly 7 p.m., a black Mercedes pulls up outside her building. The driver is the same broad-shouldered man from the restaurant, one of Domenico's guards. He opens the door without a word. his expression carefully neutral. Simone has dressed simply. Jeans, a soft burgundy sweater that brings out the warm undertones in her brown skin, her natural curls left free around her shoulders. She's applied minimal makeup, just enough to feel confident. If this is a mistake, at least she'll make it looking like herself. The drive takes 40 minutes, heading north, out of Manhattan into Westchester. They pass through increasingly wealthy neighborhoods until finally turning through iron gates that open automatically. The driveway winds through trees for what feels like miles before a house emerges. No, not a house, an estate. Stone and glass, modern but with old-world touches. Expansive windows that overlook a valley. Grounds that stretch into the distance, bordered by forest. This is wealth beyond what Simone has ever encountered. The kind of wealth that comes from generations of power, legal and otherwise. The car stops at the entrance. Domenico himself opens her door. He's dressed down, dark jeans, a charcoal Henley that hugs his chest and arms. His hair is slightly damp, like he's just showered. Without the armor of an expensive suit, he looks younger, more approachable, but no less dangerous. "You came," he says, offering his hand to help her out. "I said I would. People say a lot of things they don't mean." His fingers wrap around hers, warm and strong. "Especially to men like me." He leads her inside, through rooms that feel more like a museum than a home. Everything is expensive, tasteful, and impersonal. No photographs, no clutter, no sign that anyone actually lives here. But then they reach the kitchen, and everything changes. It's massive, professional grade, with equipment that makes Simone's chef heart sing. But it's also lived in. Worn cutting boards, a knife block with handles that show use, herbs growing in pots on the windowsill. This room has a soul. "This is where I come to think," Domenico says, watching her take it in. "The only room in this house that feels real. It's beautiful. It's yours tonight." He moves to the counter where ingredients are already laid out. "I'm making you pasta. From scratch. The way my mother taught me." Simone watches as he rolls up his sleeves, revealing forearms corded with muscle and marked with tattoos. Italian script winds up his right arm, disappearing under the fabric. On his left forearm is a detailed image, a woman's face, rendered in black and gray. Beautiful, sad, wearing a small smile. "Your mother?" Simone asks softly. Domenico glances at the tattoo, his expression softening. "Yes. I had it done a year after she died, so I'd never forget her face." He touches it gently. "Sometimes I talk to her, tell her about my day, ask her advice I know she can't give." The vulnerability in his admission makes Simone's chest ache. "What would she think of this? Of you inviting me here?" "She'd love you." His certainty is absolute. "She'd love that you carry her recipes, that you understand that food is love made visible." He starts measuring flour onto the marble counter. "She'd tell me not to fuck this up. This? You. Us. Whatever this is that started 3 days ago and won't let me sleep." He works as he talks, his hands creating a well in the flour, cracking eggs into it with practiced ease. Simone finds herself moving closer, drawn by the intimacy of watching someone cook, the vulnerability of sharing this process. "Tell me about you," Domenico says as he starts bringing the dough together. Not the chef, the woman. Who is Simone Carter when she's not in a kitchen? Lonely, she admits before she can stop herself. The word hangs between them, too honest, too revealing. His hands still on the dough. "Why?" "Because I've spent 3 years working 80-hour weeks. Because everyone I went to culinary school with is either burned out or successful, and I'm stuck in between. Because my grandmother was the only family I had, and now she's gone." She swallows hard. "Because I'm good at being a chef. I'm terrible at being a person." I understand that. He resumes kneading, the motion rhythmic and soothing. My entire life is my work. Has been since I was 26 and my father died. I inherited an empire I didn't want, became a man I didn't recognize, made choices that haunt me. His jaw tightens. I'm good at being a boss, terrible at being human. Then why am I here? He stops kneading, looks at her with those impossibly dark eyes. Because when you sat across from me, you saw me. Not the name, not the reputation. Just a man who missed his mother. And I haven't felt seen in so long I'd forgotten what it felt like. The honesty between them is dangerous. Building something that feels too real, too fast. Tell me about your empire, Simone says, needing to break the intensity. Help me understand what I'm walking into. Domenico considers her for a long moment, then he nods, as if making a decision. My family has controlled imports and exports in New York for 3 generations, shipping primarily. Some of it legal, some of it. He trails off. Some of it exists in gray areas, but we also own restaurants, real estate, legitimate businesses that employ thousands of people. And the illegal parts? I won't lie to you, Simone. There are things I do that would horrify you. Choices I've made that I can't take back. But I follow rules. I don't hurt innocents. I don't deal in drugs or trafficking. My father did. And I ended those operations the day I took over. His hands work the dough with increased intensity. I'm trying to make the family legitimate. It's slow work. You don't walk away from this life easily. But I'm trying. Why tell me this? You barely know me. Because if this goes where I think it's going, where I want it to go, you need to know what you're getting into. He shapes the dough into a ball, covers it with a cloth. I don't want you walking in blind. That's not fair to you. While the dough rests, he makes sauce. Not from a jar. From fresh tomatoes he blanches and peels. Garlic he minces by hand. Basil he tears with his fingers. The motions are meditative, almost spiritual. Simone moves to help without asking, finding a rhythm with him. She chops garlic while he works on tomatoes. He reaches for olive oil at the same moment she does, their hands colliding, his fingers curling around hers. The contact sends electricity up her arm. They stand there, hands joined around a bottle of olive oil, something crackling in the air between them. Simone. Her name on his lips is a question and a plea. We should finish cooking, she manages, but she doesn't pull her hand away. We should. He doesn't move either. Then his phone rings, shattering the moment. He curses in Italian, releasing her to check the screen. His expression darkens. I have to take this. I'm sorry. He steps into the hallway, his voice dropping to harsh Italian that carries the edge of command and fury. Simone takes over the sauce, stirring it while trying to ignore the fragments she hears. Something about a shipment, a betrayal, someone named Luca reporting a problem. When Domenico returns, his entire demeanor has changed. The vulnerability is gone, replaced by cold calculation. This is the Mafia boss, not the man who misses his mother. I need to handle something, he says curtly. It won't take long. I can go. No. The word cracks like a whip. He crosses to her, his hands framing her face with surprising gentleness despite his harsh tone. You stay here. You're safe here. I have security all over this property. No one gets in without my knowing. Am I in danger? Not from this, but... He hesitates, something like fear flickering across his face. Simone, the moment you were seen with me at Salvatore's, you became part of my world. My enemies now see you as leverage, as a way to get to me. The words land like blows. What are you saying? I'm saying that I've already put you in danger just by showing interest in you, and I'm selfish enough that I'm not going to let you go, even though I should. His thumbs stroke her cheeks. I'm going to protect you, starting now. Whether you want me to or not. That's not your decision to make. Yes, it is. His voice drops, becomes almost gentle. Because I've already had your apartment building under surveillance since the night we met. Because I've already assigned guards to watch your movements. Because I've already made sure that anyone who looks at you wrong answers to me. Horror and something else. Something that feels disturbingly like safety war in her chest. You've been watching me? Protecting you. There's a difference. Is there? He leans his forehead against hers. I know this is insane. I know I'm moving too fast, claiming too much. But the alternative is leaving you vulnerable, and I can't do that. Not when I know what men in my world are capable of. I don't want to be a prisoner. You won't be. You'll be protected. Cherished. Safe. His lips brush her forehead. Give me a chance to show you the difference. Before she can respond, his phone rings again. He answers with a snarl, listens, then his entire body goes rigid. When? A pause. How many? Another pause, longer this time. Lock it down, no one in or out. I'm on my way. He ends the call, and when he looks at her, there's something new in his eyes. Fear. What happened? Someone just tried to hit one of my warehouses. They failed, but he pulls out his phone again, makes a call. Luca, the chef from Salvatore's, Simone Carter. I need a full security detail on her. Now. No, I don't care what it costs. Yes, 24/7. He listens, his eyes never leaving Simone's face. Because she's mine now. Spread the word. He hangs up, cups her face again. I'm sorry. This night was supposed to be about getting to know each other. About food and connection and it's okay. And strangely, it is. Because she's seeing him fully now. Not just the charming man who cooks, but the dangerous one who commands. And she's not running. Should be, but isn't. I have to go. Handle this before it escalates. He kisses her then, hard and claiming. My driver will take you home. Luca will meet you there. He's head of my security. You can trust him. Domenico. Wear this. He pulls a thin gold chain from his pocket, a small medallion hanging from it. It has a tracker, and it tells anyone who knows what it means that you're under Valentini protection. The weight of it in her palm feels like a collar, a claim, a promise. I don't. Please. The word costs him. Please, Simone, let me keep you safe. I can't have you out there unprotected, not now, not when they know I care about you. She should refuse, should demand her independence, should run as far and fast from this beautiful, dangerous man as possible. Instead, she lifts the chain and fastens it around her neck. The medallion settles just above her heart, warm from his pocket. The relief on his face is devastating. Thank you, he breathes. Then he's gone, moving with lethal grace toward whatever violence awaits him in the night. Simone stands alone in his kitchen, the sauce simmering on the stove, the unrolled pasta dough resting under its cloth, and a gold medallion burning against her skin like a brand. She touches it gently, feeling the raised design. A lion, the Valentini family crest. She's marked now, his to protect, his to keep. And the most terrifying part is how safe that makes her feel. The driver, she learns his name is Antonio, takes her home in silence. But when they pull up to her building, a man is waiting. Tall, grizzled, with gray at his temples and the bearing of someone who's seen combat. He opens her door before Antonio can. Miss Carter, I'm Luca Marchetti, head of Mr. Valentini's personal security. His voice is rough but respectful. I'll be coordinating your protection detail. I don't need... With respect, Miss Carter, you do. His expression is grave. The boss doesn't make moves like this lightly. If he's put you under protection, there's a reason. Simone follows him up to her apartment, hyper aware of how small and shabby it must look to someone from Domenico's world. The water-stained ceiling, the kitchen that's barely a kitchen, the futon that serves as both couch and bed. Luca sweeps the apartment with professional efficiency, checking windows, examining locks. His frown deepens with each inspection. "This isn't secure," he says bluntly. "The locks are standard residential. The windows don't have security film. Anyone could break in here in under 30 seconds. It's what I can afford." "Not anymore." He pulls out his phone, makes a call. "Yeah, it's me. I need a full security retrofit, standard Valentini package." He rattles off her address. "By morning. I don't care who you have to wake up. You can't just—" "I can, and I am." He ends the call. "Miss Carter, I've worked for the Valentini family for 22 years. I knew Domenico when he was a boy. I watched him become the man he is today." His weathered face softens slightly. "I've never seen him like this. Protective, yes. He's always protective of his people. But this is different. You're different." "How?" "Because he's scared." Luca's admission shocks her. Men like the boss don't get scared. They get angry, they get violent, they get calculating. But scared? That's new. And he's terrified something will happen to you. The words settle around her, heavy with implication. "I don't want to be responsible for—" "You're not responsible for anything except being yourself." Luca's voice is kind now, almost fatherly. "The boss's world is dangerous. That's on him, not you. But now that you're in it, we protect you. That's how this works." He leaves her with a new phone, secure line, boss's number programmed in, and the promise that someone will always be watching the building. Simone lies awake that night, the medallion cool against her skin, listening to the unfamiliar sound of safety. Because for the first time in 3 years, she's not afraid of the creaking pipes, or the voices in the hallway, or the lock that doesn't quite catch. For the first time since Nonna Rosa died, she's not alone. Her new phone buzzes at 2 a.m., a text from Domenico. "Are you awake?" She shouldn't respond, should turn over and pretend she's sleeping. Instead, "Yes. Can't sleep either. Thinking about you. Is everything okay? With your business?" "Handled. Messy, but handled. I'm sorry our dinner was interrupted. We can try again." A pause. Then, "Tomorrow. My place. I'll finish what I started. And Simone, thank you for wearing the medallion. For trusting me enough to let me protect you. I'm not sure trust is the right word. What would you call it?" She thinks about that. About how she feels when she's with him. Terrified and safe. Overwhelmed and seen. Like she's standing at the edge of a cliff, and he's both the fall and the landing. "Surrender," she finally types. "I think I'm surrendering. To me, to this, whatever this is, I'll take it. I'll take whatever you're willing to give me, Tesoro. Sleep well. You're safe. I promise you that." The endearment, Tesoro, treasure, makes her chest ache. She clutches the phone like a lifeline and finally, impossibly, falls asleep with his words, wrapped around her like armor. The next evening, she returns to his estate. This time, she's ready for it. The gates, the long driveway, the fortress-like security. Domenico meets her at the door again, and this time he doesn't hide his relief at seeing her. "You came back. I said I would." "I know. But I thought maybe after last night, after seeing that side of my life, you'd change your mind." He takes her coat, his fingers lingering on her shoulders. "I wouldn't blame you." "I'm terrified," she admits. "But I'm here. Honest. I like that." He leads her to the kitchen where the ingredients from last night are still waiting. "Let's finish what we started." They cook together, and this time there are no interruptions. Domenico rolls out the pasta dough with expert hands while Simone tends the sauce. They move around each other with surprising ease, like they've done this 1,000 times instead of once. My mother used to make me help, Domenico says as he cuts the dough into perfect ribbons. Even when I was small, she said that cooking taught patience, discipline, respect for process. Nonna said the same thing. Simone watches his hands work. She said you could tell a lot about a person by how they cook, whether they're patient or impatient, generous or stingy, present or distracted. What does my cooking tell you about me? She considers him, the careful precision of his cuts, the way he tastes and adjusts, the reverence with which he handles the ingredients. That you're capable of gentleness, that you remember being taught with love, that underneath everything else, there's still the boy who learned from his mother. His hands still. When he looks at her, his eyes are bright with unshed tears. No one has said anything like that to me in, I don't know how long. His voice is rough. Everyone sees the boss, the criminal, the dangerous man. You see the son who misses his mother. Maybe that's who you really are. Or maybe it's who I was before life made me into something else. He sets down the knife, crosses to her. Simone, I need you to understand something. The man I am in this kitchen with you, he's real. But so is the man who left last night to handle business with violence. Both exist. Both are me. I know. And you're still here? I'm still here. He kisses her then, soft and seeking, like he's asking a question with his lips. She answers by pulling him closer, her hands fisting in his shirt, her body pressed against his. When they break apart, both breathing hard, Domenico rests his forehead against hers. Stay tonight, he whispers. Not for, I just want you here, want to fall asleep knowing you're safe under my roof, want to wake up and know you're real. Domenico, please, I have guest rooms. You can have your own space. His vulnerability is devastating. I need you close. Is that insane? Yes. She cups his face. But I'll stay anyway. They finish cooking, eat the pasta at his kitchen counter, twirling the ribbons around their forks, laughing when sauce gets on her chin and he wipes it away with his thumb, then licks it clean while maintaining eye contact. After dinner, he shows her the guest room, though room doesn't do it justice. It's a suite, with a bathroom larger than her entire apartment and a bed that looks like a cloud. If you need anything, I'm right next door, Domenico says from the doorway. And Simone, thank you for giving me this, for not running when you should have. Maybe I'm not as smart as I thought I was. Or maybe you're smarter than either of us realize. He smiles and it transforms his face. Sleep well, tesoro. But Simone can't sleep. The bed is too soft, the room too quiet, and she's too aware of the wall between them. Too aware that he's right there, close enough to touch, if only there wasn't plaster and stubbornness in the way. At midnight, she gives up. Pads barefoot down the hallway in the t-shirt and shorts she'd found, waiting on the bed. His, she realizes, soft from washing and smelling like him. His door is ajar, and she can see him through the gap. He's standing at the window, shirtless, staring out at the night with a glass of whiskey in his hand. The moonlight turns his skin to bronze, highlights the tattoos that cover his back, an intricate scene she can't quite make out from here. Can't sleep either, he says without turning around. How did you? I've been trained to hear everything. Now he does turn, and the sight of him steals her breath. All lean muscle and olive skin, the defined lines of his abs, the V that disappears into his low-slung pajama pants. Come here. She shouldn't. This is dangerous territory, but her feet carry her across the threshold into his space until she's standing beside him at the window. What do you see when you look out there? she asks. Territory, responsibility, threats that never sleep. He takes a sip of whiskey. My father used to stand at this same window. He'd tell me that from here, you can see most of Westchester. That it was ours. That I'd have to protect it one day. His jaw tightens. I was 12. I just wanted my mother back. Simone's hand finds his, threads their fingers together. Tell me about her. Really tell me. So he does. For the next hour, Domenico talks about his mother, Maria Valentini, who came from Calabria at 18, who married into the family and hated the violence, who tried to keep her son separate from the business, who sang while she cooked and taught him that there was beauty in the world beyond power and control. She got sick when I was 11, he says, his voice hollow. Ovarian cancer. Aggressive. She fought for 18 months, but... He downs the rest of his whiskey. She died in this house, in the room down the hall. And my father barely stopped working long enough to say goodbye. I'm so sorry. My father turned me over to Luca after she died, said I needed to toughen up, learn the business. I was 12 years old, and they were teaching me about territory and enforcement and all the ways men can hurt each other. His hand tightens on hers. I became what they made me, but in this kitchen, when I cook her recipes, I remember who I was supposed to be. You're still that person, Domenico, underneath everything else. Am I? Because sometimes I look in the mirror and I don't recognize the man looking back. Simone turns to face him fully, her free hand rising to touch his cheek. I see him, the son who loved his mother, the man who cooks with reverence, the person who's trying to make his empire legitimate. He's there. You're there. You make me want to believe that. His hand covers hers on his cheek. You make me want to be better than what I am. Then be better. You have that power. Do I? Or am I too far gone? Instead of answering, she rises on her toes and kisses him. Soft at first, then deeper when his arms wrap around her waist and pull her close. She can taste the whiskey on his tongue, feel the thundering of his heart against her chest, sense the restraint in every touch. He's holding back, keeping himself in check, afraid of breaking her. I'm not fragile, she whispers against his lips. You are to me. His hands span her waist. You're precious to me, Simone. I don't want to take too much. Too fast. Don't want to scare you away. What if I'm not scared? What if I want what, tesoro? Tell me. This. You. All of it. He groans, a sound from deep in his chest, and kisses her again. Harder this time, less restrained. His hands slide under her. His shirt, finding the warm skin of her back, her sides, mapping her body like territory he's claiming inch by inch. They stumble backward toward his bed, a tangle of limbs and gasping breaths, and clothes that are suddenly obstacles. He lays her down on sheets that smell like him, covers her body with his, and shows her with his hands and mouth, and whispered Italian endearments exactly how precious she is to him. Afterward, wrapped in his arms with her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat slow to normal, Simone feels something shift inside her. A wall crumbling, a defense falling. I'm falling in love with you, she whispers into the darkness, and it terrifies me. His arms tighten around her. I fell the moment you sat across from me and saw me as human. I'm already gone, tesoro. Completely, irrevocably gone. This is crazy. Yes, it's too fast. Yes, we barely know each other. Then we'll learn. He tilts her chin up so their eyes meet. I'll spend every day learning you. What makes you laugh? What makes you cry? Every dream, every fear, every piece of your soul. And you'll learn me. All of me. Even the dark parts. Especially the dark parts, she corrects, because that's part of who you are too. Something in his expression cracks open, vulnerability flooding through. "How are you real?" he whispers. "How did I find you?" "Maybe your mother sent me." The words come from somewhere deep. Maybe she knew you needed someone to remind you who you were meant to be. Tears slip down his cheeks. This powerful, dangerous man crying in her arms. I miss her every day. I know. I miss mine too. They hold each other in the darkness. Two people who've lost their anchors finding something new to hold on to. It's fragile and new and probably doomed. But for tonight, it's enough. For tonight, they have each other. And in Domenico's world, that's the most precious thing of all. 3 weeks pass like a fever dream. Simone moves between her tiny apartment and Domenico's estate. Between her life as a chef and her new life as the woman under Valentini protection. The medallion never leaves her neck. She learns his routines. Early morning calls in Italian that he takes in his office. Afternoons reviewing shipment manifests and restaurant profit margins. Evenings in the kitchen with her, cooking and talking and slowly peeling back layers. She learns his men. Luca, who's more father figure than employee. Antonio, the driver who has a dry sense of humor once you earn his respect. Marco, his second in command, who watches her with suspicious eyes like he's waiting for her to betray the boss. She learns the rules of his world. Don't ask about business unless he volunteers. Don't go anywhere without telling Luca. Don't take off the medallion. Ever. And she learns him. The way he touches the tattoo of his mother when he's stressed. How his accent thickens when he's angry. The nightmares that wake him at 3 a.m., sending him to the kitchen to cook until dawn. The soft way he says her name when he thinks she's sleeping. They haven't said the words yet. I love you. Though they both feel it. It's there in every touch, every glance, every meal they cook together. But the danger is always present. She sees it in the increased security, the hushed phone calls, the tension that tightens Domenico's shoulders when he thinks she's not looking. "Something's wrong," she says one evening as they prepare dinner. "Don't deny it. I can feel it." Domenico's hands still on the knife he's using to chop vegetables. For a long moment, he doesn't respond. Then he sets the knife down with careful precision. "There's a problem with the Russian bratva. They're pushing into my territory. Specifically, they're targeting my restaurants." His jaw tightens, including Salvatore's. Simone's stomach drops. "The place where we met." "Yes." They know it's significant. They're using it as a message. He turns to face her fully. "They know about you, Simone. They've been watching, following, trying to figure out how important you are to me." "And? How important am I?" "So important that if they touch you, I'll start a war that will burn this city down." The vow should frighten her. Instead, it makes her feel safe and guilty all at once. Is this my fault? Because of that first night? No. He crosses to her, framing her face with his hands. This would have happened eventually. The Russians have been looking for an excuse to move against me for years. You're not the cause. You're just... He swallows hard. You're the thing they think they can use to hurt me. Then maybe I should leave. Go somewhere they can't find me. No. The word is absolute. You stay here, where I can protect you, where my men can watch you, where I know you're safe. Domenico, I can't just stop living my life. You can, and you will. His voice hardens. I'm not negotiating this, Simone. The Russians play dirty. They don't have honor. They'll hurt you just to prove they can, and I will not allow that. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. His possessiveness should anger her. Instead, she sees the fear beneath it, the terror of losing her the way he lost his mother. "Okay," she says softly. Okay, I'll be careful. I'll follow the rules. Relief floods his features. He pulls her into his arms, holding her like she might disappear. Thank you. I know I'm being overbearing. I know this isn't how normal relationships work, but we were never going to be normal. No, we weren't. He kisses the top of her head. But we're ours, and I protect what's mine. That night, Simone wakes to an empty bed. She finds Domenico in his office, speaking rapid Italian into his phone. Through the crack in the door, she watches him pace, watches the dangerous grace in his movements, the cold calculation in his expression. This is the man the newspapers write about, the one who makes people disappear, the one who controls an empire through fear and loyalty and strategic violence. But when he ends the call and sees her watching, his face transforms, softens, becomes the man who cooks with her and holds her in the dark. Come here, he says, opening his arms. She goes, because she always goes. Lets him pull her into his lap, wraps herself around him like armor. Tell me something good, he murmurs into her hair. Something from before all this, before you knew what I was. So she tells him about culinary school, about her best friend Marcus, who now runs a food truck in Portland, about the time she catered a wedding and accidentally set the tablecloth on fire, about her dream of opening a small restaurant where she could serve the kind of food that fed souls, not just stomachs. You'll have it, Domenico says with absolute certainty. When this is over, when the threat is handled, I'll give you a space, the best location in the city, and you'll create magic. I don't want you to buy it for me. I want to earn it. Then earn it. But let me help. Let me give you this. Please. The please undoes her. This man who commands armies asking permission to give her a gift. After, she compromises. After everything is safe. After the Russians are dealt with. Then we'll talk about restaurants and futures and all the things we're afraid to plan. Deal. He seals it with a kiss. But Simone, there will be an after. I promise you that. I'll make sure of it. She wants to believe him. Desperately wants to believe that they'll have a future beyond danger and protection and living in this beautiful fortress. But 3 days later, everything changes. Simone is at Salvatore's, against Domenico's wishes, but they needed her for a private event. Luca and 2 other guards shadow her every move. She's in the kitchen, working on a tasting menu, when she hears the commotion. Raised voices, crashes. Then a sound that makes her blood freeze. Gunshots. Luca grabs her immediately, pushing her toward the back exit. Move, now! What's happening? Russians. They're hitting the restaurant. We need to get you out. They rush through the kitchen, other staff scattering in panic. But when they reach the back door, it bursts open. 3 men in black, guns drawn, faces hidden behind masks. Valentini's bitch, one of them says in accented English. The boss wants to meet you. Luca puts himself between Simone and the guns. Over my dead body. That can be arranged. Everything happens fast. Luca draws his weapon. The Russians fire. Simone screams as Luca goes down, blood blooming across his chest. Then hands are grabbing her, dragging her toward a van in the alley. She fights, kicks, screams Domenico's name like a prayer. A cloth covers her mouth. Chemical smell. The world tilting, fading. The last thing she sees before darkness takes her is the medallion being ripped from her neck, the chain breaking, the gold lion falling to the dirty ground. Then nothing. Consciousness returns in fragments, cold concrete beneath her. The smell of mildew and rust. Pain radiating from her wrists where rough rope cuts into skin. The metallic taste of fear coating her tongue. Simone's eyes flutter open to darkness broken only by a bare bulb swinging overhead. She's in a warehouse, she realizes, empty except for support columns and the chair she's tied to. Water drips somewhere in the distance, each drop echoing like a countdown. She's awake. The voice comes from the shadows. A man steps into the light, middle-aged, broad-shouldered, with cold blue eyes and a scar that runs from his temple to his jaw. He speaks English with a thick Russian accent. "Miss Carter, welcome. I am Viktor Kuznetsov." He pulls up a metal folding chair, sitting backward on it so his arms rest on the back. "You're probably wondering why you're here." Simone's throat is dry, her voice a rasp. "Where's Luca?" "The old man. In hospital, if he's lucky. Dead, if he's not." Victor shrugs like it doesn't matter. "But we're not here to talk about him. We're here to talk about Domenico Valentini." "I don't know anything about his business, Ga." "I don't care about his business." Victor leans forward. "I care about hurting him. And you, little chef, are how I do that." Fear slices through her, sharp and cold. "He'll kill you for this." "Perhaps. But first, he'll suffer. He'll know that we have you, that we can do anything we want to you, and he'll feel helpless for the first time in his life." Victor's smile is cruel. "That's worth dying for." He pulls out a phone, aims the camera at her. "Smile for your boyfriend." "Don't." The slap comes fast, snapping her head to the side. Pain explodes across her cheek, tears springing to her eyes. "I said smile." Simone glares at the camera, refuses to give him the fear he wants. If this is being sent to Domenico, she won't let him see her broken. Victor takes several photos, then stands. "Make yourself comfortable, Miss Carter. We'll be here for a while. Valentini needs time to understand exactly what he's lost." He disappears into the shadows, leaving her alone with the dripping water and the growing cold and the terrible knowledge that Domenico is somewhere receiving those photos, seeing her tied and bleeding and probably losing his mind. She tries to track time, but it's impossible. Minutes or hours could pass. Her wrists are bleeding from struggling against the ropes. Her face throbs where Victor hit her. The cold seeps into her bones. Then her phone, the secure one Luca gave her, buzzes in Victor's pocket across the warehouse. Once, twice, 20 times in rapid succession. Victor pulls it out, looks at the screen, and laughs. "Your man is very upset. 47 missed calls in the last hour." He holds up the phone so she can see Domenico's name flashing on the screen. "Should we answer? Let him hear your voice?" "Go to hell." "Eventually, but first, entertainment." He answers the call on speaker. "Simone." Domenico's voice is raw, desperate, terrified in a way she's never heard. "Simone, Tesoro, talk to me. Please, God, just talk to me." "She's alive, Valentini," Victor says. "For now." The silence that follows is deadly. When Domenico speaks again, his voice has gone cold. Arctic. The voice of a man capable of terrible things. "If you've hurt her, I've done more than hurt her. I've taken her. And she'll stay taken until you give me what I want. Name it. Anything. Your territory. Brooklyn, Queens, the docks. All of it." Victor's voice hardens. "Sign it over to me, and I'll think about returning your little chef in one piece." "Done. Where do you want to meet?" The ease of his capitulation shocks both Simone and Victor. This is Domenico's empire. 3 generations of Valentini blood built that territory. And he's willing to hand it over without negotiation? "You're bluffing," Victor says. "I'm not. I don't care about territory. I don't care about power or money or empire. I care about her." Domenico's voice cracks. "So name the time and place. I'll give you everything. Just give her back to me. Please." The please breaks something in Simone's chest. She's never heard him beg. Never heard him sound so human, so vulnerable, so utterly destroyed. "Don't," she manages to croak. "Out. Don't give him anything. Domenico, don't." Victor backhands her again, silencing her. The sound that comes through the phone is inhuman, pure rage and anguish. Touch her again, and I'll peel the skin from your bones while you're still breathing, Domenico says, each word precise and deadly. I'll make you beg for death, Victor. I'll make your end so slow, so painful, that you'll wish you'd never been born. Big words from a man who's about to lose everything. You think I'm losing? I'm about to burn your entire organization to the ground. I'm going to kill everyone you've ever cared about. Your men, your family, everyone. And I'm going to save you for last so you can watch. Then your chef dies. Then I'll still kill you. But it will be worse. So much worse you can't imagine. Domenico's voice drops to something terrible and certain. You have two choices, Victor. Give her back now and die quickly, or keep her and die screaming. Choose. Victor ends the call, but his hand is shaking. Simone sees the fear flicker across his face before his mask slams back into place. Your boyfriend talks big, he says, but his voice lacks conviction. He's not talking, Simone says quietly. He's promising, and Domenico Valentini always keeps his promises. Hours pass, or maybe days. Simone drifts in and out of consciousness, the cold and exhaustion taking their toll. Victor and his men argue in Russian, their voices rising and falling. She catches fragments, something about Valentini mobilizing his entire organization, about attacks on Russian holdings, about men disappearing. Domenico isn't negotiating, he's declaring war. When Victor returns, he's covered in blood that isn't his. His expression is wild, desperate. He's killed 16 of my men in the last 6 hours. He snarls, grabbing Simone's chair and tilting it back until she's staring at the ceiling. 16! He's hitting us everywhere at once. He's a demon. I told you, Simone manages. You took something that's his. He'll never stop. Then maybe I should just kill you. Remove his motivation. Then you definitely die. At least while I'm alive, you have leverage. Victor stares at her for a long moment, then drops the chair back onto 4 legs with a crash that rattles her teeth. You love him, he says, studying her face. You actually love that monster. Yes. Why? What's so special about Domenico Valentini? Simone thinks about that. About the man who cries over meatballs and cooks with reverence. The man who touches his mother's tattoo when he's sad. The man who looks at her like she's his reason for breathing. He sees me, she says simply. Not what I can do for him. Not what I represent. Just me. And I see him. The man he was before the world made him into something else. Touching. Victor's smile is sharp. Let's see if love is enough to save you. He pulls out his phone again, this time making a video. Domenico Valentini, you have 12 hours to sign over your territory. If you don't, I start removing pieces of your chef. Maybe a finger first, then an ear. We'll see how long she lasts. He ends the recording, sends it. Simone closes her eyes, praying that Domenico won't do anything stupid. Won't trade his empire for her. But deep down, she knows he will. Because that's who he is. A man who protects what's his, no matter the cost. Domenico doesn't wait 12 hours. 6 hours later, the warehouse doors explode inward. The sound is deafening. Metal shrieking, wood splintering, shouts in Italian and Russian colliding in the echoing space. Gunfire erupts, muzzle flashes lighting the darkness like deadly fireworks. Simone keeps her head down, her heart hammering as chaos unfolds around her. She can hear Victor screaming orders, his men returning fire, but they're outnumbered, outgunned, outmaneuvered. Because Domenico Valentini isn't just coming for her. He's brought an army. The firefight is brutal and brief. Russian voices cut off mid-shout, bodies hit concrete. Then silence, broken only by footsteps approaching her position. Simone, his voice. Domenico's voice, raw and desperate. "Here," she manages. "I'm here." Then he's in front of her, and the sight of him steals what little breath she has left. He's covered in blood, his shirt soaked with it, his face splattered, his hands red to the wrists. But his eyes, those dark, beautiful eyes, are focused entirely on her. Tesoro. His hands shake as he pulls out a knife and cuts the ropes binding her. Dio mio, what did they do to you? She collapses forward into his arms, and he catches her, cradling her against his chest like she's made of glass. "I'm okay," she whispers. "I'm okay." "You're not okay. You're hurt. They hit you. They tied you up. They—" His voice breaks. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Simone. This is my fault. All of it." "No, it's not. It is." He pulls back just enough to look at her face, and she sees tears streaming down his cheeks, cutting tracks through the blood. "You were right. Being with me made you a target. I should have let you go. Should have kept you safe by staying away." "Don't." She touches his face, her bound wrists making the movement clumsy. "Don't you dare. I chose this. I chose you." "Why? Why would you choose this? This violence, this danger?" "Because I love you." The words come easily now, truth flowing like water. "I love you, Domenico. The good and the bad. The man who cooks and the man who kills. All of it. I love all of it." He makes it sound like he's been shot, then crushes his mouth to hers. The kiss tastes like blood and salt and desperate relief, like coming home after being lost. When they break apart, Luca appears at Domenico's shoulder. He's pale, moving stiffly, with a bandage visible beneath his shirt. But he's alive. "Boss, we need to move. Police will be here soon." "Victor?" Domenico's voice goes cold. "Alive. Barely. We have him." Something terrible crosses Domenico's face. "Good. Take Simone. To the car. Get her somewhere safe." "No." Simone grabs his shirt. "Whatever you're about to do isn't for you to see." He kisses her forehead. "Let Luca take care of you. I'll be right behind you, I promise." "Domenico? Please, Tesoro. Please don't make me do this in front of you. Don't make you see that part of me." She understands then. He's going to kill Victor. Slowly, painfully, keeping the promise he made on the phone. And he doesn't want her to witness it. Doesn't want that violence to touch her. "Come back to me," she says instead of arguing. "Whatever you do, whatever darkness you have to walk through, come back to me. Always. One more kiss. I'll always come back to you." Luca leads her away, supporting her weight as they navigate through the warehouse. She tries not to look at the bodies, but she counts them anyway. 13 Russians, 3 of Domenico's men. The price of her rescue painted in blood and death. Outside, dawn is breaking. Pink and gold light streaming across a scene of violence. Black SUVs form a perimeter, more of Domenico's men standing guard with weapons ready. Antonio appears, takes her from Luca, helps her into a vehicle. Someone hands her a bottle of water. A blanket wraps around her shoulders. And then they wait. 15 minutes pass. 20. Simone's hands shake around the water bottle, her mind refusing to process what just happened. The kidnapping. The threats. The way Domenico looked covered in blood and tears. Then he emerges from the warehouse, and even from a distance she can see he's changed. His expression is blank, carved from ice. His movements are mechanical. This is the aftermath of violence, the weight of what he's done settling on his shoulders. He climbs into the SUV beside her, doesn't speak, just pulls her into his arms and holds on like she's the only thing keeping him tethered to humanity. "Is it done?" she whispers. "It's done. Victor won't hurt anyone ever again. His organization is scattered. The threat is over." "What did you do to him?" "Don't ask me that, Tesoro. Please don't ask me to put that darkness on you." So she doesn't. Just holds him while they drive, feeling him shake with silent sobs against her shoulder. This powerful, dangerous man breaking in her arms. They go to his estate. Domenico carries her inside despite her protests that she can walk. Takes her straight to his bathroom where he runs a bath, testing the temperature with careful attention. "Let me take care of you," he says quietly. "Please, I need to do this." She lets him undress her, wincing as fabric pulls at injuries she hadn't noticed before. Bruises blooming across her ribs, cuts on her wrists, the swelling on her face. Domenico's jaw clenches with each new injury he uncovers, but his hands remain gentle as he helps her into the water. "I should have protected you better," he says, kneeling beside the tub. "Should have kept you closer. Should have. You saved me. That's what matters. I put you in danger in the first place." "No, Victor put me in danger. You ended the threat." She touches his face, forcing him to look at her. "This isn't your fault, Domenico. It's the world you live in. But you came for me. You brought an army. You were willing to give up your empire. I'd give up everything for you. The territory, the money, the power. None of it matters if you're not here. I am here. I'm right here." He washes her hair with infinite care, his fingers gentle against her scalp. Cleanse the blood and dirt from her skin like she's something sacred. And maybe to him, she is. When the water cools, he lifts her out, wraps her in the softest towel she's ever felt, and carries her to his bed. Their bed, she realizes, because she's not going back to her apartment. That chapter of her life is over. "Sleep," he says, pulling the covers over her. "I'll be right here." "You need to sleep too." "I will. After I know you're safe." He kisses her forehead. "After I watch you breathe for a while and remind myself that you're alive, that I didn't lose you." Simone tries to stay awake, to keep him company through his vigil, but exhaustion wins. She drifts off with his hand in hers, his voice whispering Italian endearments she's too tired to translate. When she wakes, it's dark outside. Domenico is still beside her, but now he's in bed with her, his arms wrapped around her protectively, his face buried in her hair. "Domenico? Shh. I've got you. You're safe. Sleep. What time is it? Doesn't matter. Nothing matters except that you're here. Alive. Mine." She turns in his arms, needing to see his face. Even in the darkness, she can make out his features, the exhaustion etched around his eyes, the tension in his jaw, the haunted look of a man who's done terrible things for the right reasons. "Tell me," she says softly. "Tell me what you're thinking." "That I should let you go. That the right thing, the good thing, would be to put you on a plane somewhere safe and never contact you again." His hand cups her bruised cheek with infinite gentleness. "That you deserve better than a life shadowed by violence and danger. And I'm too selfish to do it, too broken to let you go, too in love with you to survive without you." His voice cracks. "I love you, Simone, more than I've ever loved anything, more than territory or power or even my own life. You're my everything." "I love you too." She kisses him softly. "And I'm not going anywhere. You don't get to make that choice for me." Even knowing what happened, what could happen again? Even knowing, because I also know that you'll do anything to protect me, that you'll burn the world down before you let anyone hurt me, that you love me enough to let me see the monster and the man. "The monster won today," he whispers. "I did things in that warehouse that would make you sick. I became something dark and terrible, and you did it to save me, to end the threat, to make sure I'd be safe." Her fingers trace his jaw. "That doesn't make you a monster, Domenico. It makes you mine." He kisses her then, deep and claiming and desperate. and she kisses him back with everything she has, pouring her love and acceptance and fierce loyalty into the press of lips and the tangle of tongues. They make love slowly, carefully, mindful of her injuries. His hands worship every inch of her skin. His mouth follows the path of bruises with gentle kisses. His voice murmurs promises in Italian and English. Ti amo. He breathes against her throat. Sei la mia vita, my life, my heart, my everything. Yours, she agrees, always yours. Afterward, wrapped in each other, the darkness held at bay by their closeness, Domenico speaks again. Marry me. Simone's breath catches. What? Marry me, Simone. Tomorrow, next week, whenever. But marry me. Be my wife. Let me give you my name and my protection and everything I have. His eyes search hers. Let me spend the rest of my life proving I'm worthy of you. You're asking me to marry you less than 24 hours after I was kidnapped? I'm asking you to marry me because I almost lost you. Because life is short and dangerous and uncertain. Because I don't want to waste another day not calling you my wife. It's insane. They've known each other less than 2 months. They've spent maybe 15 nights together. This is too fast, too intense, too everything. But when she looks at him, at this man who would trade empires for her, who breaks and bleeds and kills to keep her safe, who cooks with reverence and loves with his whole soul, she knows her answer. Yes. His smile is brilliant, transforming his face. Yes? Yes, I'll marry you. Yes to all of it. The danger and the protection and the insanity and the love, all of it. He kisses her like she's oxygen, like she's the only thing keeping him alive. And maybe she is. Maybe they're keeping each other alive. Two broken people who found something whole in the wreckage. They marry 3 weeks later in the same small church where his parents were married. It's intimate. Just Luca and a handful of Domenico's most trusted men. No guests from her side because she has no family left. But standing at the altar in a simple white dress, looking at Domenico in his dark suit with tears streaming down his face, Simone doesn't feel the absence. She feels full, complete, home. I take you, Simone Marie Carter, Domenico says, his voice steady despite the tears, to be my wife, my partner, my equal. I promise to protect you, cherish you, and love you with everything I am. In violence and peace, in darkness and light, until my last breath and beyond. When it's her turn, she speaks the words she's been practicing, half in English, half in Italian. I take you, Domenico Antonio Valentini, to be my husband. Ti prometto il mio cuore. I promise you my heart, my loyalty, my love. I promise to see you, all of you, and love every piece, until death and beyond. The priest pronounces them married, and Domenico kisses her like he's sealing a vow written in blood and hope. At the reception, held at his estate with food, Simone insisted on cooking herself. Luca makes a toast. To the boss and his bride, may she continue to bring light to his darkness. And may he continue to deserve her, though that's probably impossible. Laughter ripples through the room. Domenico pulls Simone close, his arm around her waist, his lips at her ear. He's right. I'll never deserve you. Good thing I didn't marry you for what you deserve. I married you for who you are. A criminal, a killer, a man with blood on his hands. Also a son who loved his mother. A man who cooks with reverence. Someone who's trying to be better than what the world made him. She turns in his arms. You're all of those things, Domenico, and I love all of them. The party continues late into the night, but eventually they slip away to his bedroom. Their bedroom now, officially. Wait, Domenico says at the threshold. Then he lifts her, carrying her over in the traditional way, making her laugh. We're already married. You don't have to do the cheesy stuff. I want to do the cheesy stuff. With you, I want everything to be perfect. He sets her down gently, then moves to his dresser and pulls out a box. Inside is a necklace. A new one, gold and delicate, with a medallion that matches the one that was torn from her neck. But this one is different, engraved with their initials and today's date. A permanent mark of their union. The old one was protection, he says, fastening it around her neck. This one is a promise, that you're mine and I'm yours, that nothing will ever separate us again. Simone touches the medallion, feeling its weight. Heavier than the first one, more permanent. I have something for you too, she says. She pulls out a small box she's been hiding in her clutch. Inside is a gold chain with a simple pendant, a spoon and a knife, crossed like swords. It's not fancy, she says as she fastens it around his neck, but it represents us, the chef and well, you. Creating and destroying, building and protecting. Together. Domenico touches the pendant, his eyes bright with unshed tears. It's perfect. You're perfect. They make love as husband and wife, and it feels different somehow. More sacred. More permanent. Like they've bound themselves together in a way that can't be undone. Afterward, Domenico pulls her close, his hand splayed protectively over her stomach. I want to give you everything, he murmurs. A restaurant where you can create magic, a home filled with children, a life that's more than survival. We have time for all of that. Do we? In my world. We'll make time. We'll build something beautiful from all this darkness. She turns to face him. That's what we do, Domenico. You and me. We take broken things and make them whole. 6 months later, Simone stands in the kitchen of her new restaurant. It's small, intimate, with exposed brick and open shelves and a menu that changes based on what feels right that day. They named it Rosa's, after both their grandmothers, a tribute to the women who taught them that food is love made visible. The restaurant is already packed for their Friday night service. But Domenico insisted on this one night a week when they close early, just for them. When they cook together like they did in the beginning, creating meals that feed their souls. Tonight, Simone is teaching him a new recipe. One she found in Nonna Rosa's old recipe box, written in faded ink on a stained index card. You fold the dough like this, she shows him. Gentle. You're not fighting it. You're coaxing it into what it wants to become. Domenico follows her lead, his hands mimicking hers. He's a fast learner, intuitive in the kitchen in a way that speaks to hours spent with his mother. She'd love this, you know, Simone says softly. Your mother. She'd love that you're cooking again, that you found someone who sees you. I think she sent you, Domenico says, not for the first time. I think she knew I needed saving, and she sent me an angel disguised as a chef. I'm no angel. You are to me. They cook in comfortable silence, moving around each other with practiced ease. The kitchen smells like garlic and tomatoes and fresh bread, like home and memory and love. When the food is ready, they plate it simply. Sit at the small table by the window that overlooks the street. Hold hands and say grace in Italian, a prayer his mother taught him and he taught her. To new beginnings, Domenico says, raising his glass of wine. To old recipes and new memories, Simone adds. To us, they say together. They eat slowly, savoring each bite, talking about their day. He tells her about the new legitimate shipping contract he signed. She tells him about the review they got in a food magazine. Normal things. Ordinary things. The kind of things that make a life, instead of just surviving. After dinner, as they're cleaning up together, Simone's hand goes to her stomach. She's been waiting for the right moment to tell him, and suddenly this feels like it. Domenico? He's elbow-deep in soapy water, washing their dishes by hand despite having a commercial dishwasher 10 feet away. I have something to tell you. Something in her tone makes him turn, his hands dripping, his expression cautious. What is it? Are you okay? I'm pregnant. The dish he's holding slips from his fingers, clattering into the sink. For a long moment, he just stares at her, his face cycling through shock, disbelief, and then something like awe. You're. We're. There's a baby? About 8 weeks along. I found out yesterday. She touches her still flat stomach. I wanted to be sure before I told you. A baby. He crosses to her, his wet hands framing her face. We're having a baby. Are you happy? I know we didn't plan. Happy? He laughs, and it's pure joy. Tesoro, I'm terrified and thrilled and completely overwhelmed. A baby. Our baby. He drops to his knees, his hands gentle on her stomach, his forehead pressed to where their child is growing. Hi, little one, he whispers in Italian. I'm your papa, and I'm going to love you so much. I'm going to be better than my father was. I'm going to teach you to cook and protect you, and make sure you know every single day that you're loved. Simone runs her fingers through his hair, tears streaming down her face. This man, this beautiful, dangerous, broken man, is going to be a father. We're going to be okay, she says. All three of us. We're going to build something beautiful. We already have, Domenico says, standing and pulling her into his arms. We already have, Tesoro. 3 years later. The kitchen of their home, a house halfway between the city and Domenico's estate, is chaos in the best possible way. Simone stirs a pot of sauce while 2-year-old Marco Valentini helps by banging wooden spoons on the floor. He has his father's dark eyes and his mother's warm brown skin, and he's already showing signs of inheriting both their stubborn streaks. Marco Dolce, not so loud, Domenico says, sweeping his son up and kissing his chubby cheeks. Your sister is sleeping. 6-month-old Maria, named for Domenico's mother, sleeps peacefully in her bassinet by the window, unperturbed by her brother's noise. Papa, cook! Marco demands, pointing at the stove. Yes, we're cooking, just like Nonna Maria used to cook, and like Nonna Rosa taught Mama. Domenico sets his son on the counter, carefully supervised. One day, we'll teach you too. Simone watches them together, her heart so full it aches. This life they've built from darkness and danger and desperate love. This family they've created. Rosa's restaurant is thriving. Domenico's empire is 75% legitimate now. The transition slow but steady. They have guards. Yes. Security measures? Absolutely. But the immediate danger has passed, replaced by the ordinary challenges of running businesses and raising children. What are you thinking? Domenico asks, reading her expression with the ease of practice. That I'm happy. That we made it. We did. He crosses to her, Marco still on his hip, and kisses her softly. Against all odds, we made it. Tell me the story again, Papa, Marco says, a phrase he's learned in recent weeks. Which story? How you met Mama. Simone and Domenico exchange glances. They've worked out a child-friendly version of their story, one that focuses on the food and leaves out the violence. Well, Domenico begins, settling Marco more comfortably. I went to a restaurant for a business dinner. I was sad that night, missing my mama who had died a long time ago. And then your mama brought me food. Special food that my mama used to make. And then what? Marco asks, even though he's heard this story a dozen times. And then I knew, Simone says, joining them. I knew that this man who looked so sad needed someone to remind him how to be happy. So I did. With food. With love. Domenico corrects. Your mama loved me when I didn't think I deserved it. She saw who I really was, and loved me anyway. That's silly, Papa. Everyone deserves love. out of the mouths of children. Simone catches Domenico's eye, sees him blinking back tears. You're right, Piccolino. Everyone deserves love. Your mama just had to teach me that. The timer dings. Dinner is ready. They gather around the table. Domenico holding Maria, while Simone helps Marco into his booster seat. They hold hands and say grace, a blend of Italian and English that honors both their heritages. And as Simone looks around the table at her family, at the man who loved her enough to change, at the children they created from that love, at the ordinary miracle of this moment, she thinks about how far they've come. From a chance encounter in a restaurant to this kitchen full of love and laughter and the smell of her grandmother's recipes. She thinks about Nonna Rosa and Maria Valentini, two women from different worlds who taught them both that food is love made visible. And she hopes, wherever they are, they're watching, smiling, knowing that their recipes did more than feed bodies. They healed souls and built bridges and created families. What are you smiling about, Tesoro? Domenico asks. Just thinking that maybe fate is real after all. Maybe your mother and my grandmother really did conspire to bring us together. Through meatballs and tomato sauce? Is there any better way? He laughs, and the sound fills the kitchen, mixing with Marco's giggles and Maria's gurgling and the simmering of sauce on the stove. This is their life now. Not perfect, not without challenges, but theirs. Built from broken pieces, from darkness and light, from danger and safety, from the collision of two worlds that never should have met. But they did meet. Over a plate of food that tasted like memory and love. And they built something beautiful. Something worth fighting for. Something that feeds more than stomachs. It feeds souls. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you love this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.